Hello, we are live. Joining me tonight, Craig Finbar. Craig, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks very much, Rich.
Keeping that smile.
Keeping the smile going, yeah, all good.
It's much better these shows when we have something positive to talk about, but tonight is misery. Good evening to everyone. Yeah, we are. Good evening, Robert. I need to grab another beer. I am on the Camden-on-Sea tonight. If I can, advertising for Adnams there. So yeah, I don't blame you, Robert. Go and sort yourself out. Run, fat boy, run. Andrew, evening to you. Drink that pain away, says Owen. Craig, that was abysmal, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yep, it was very, very similar. I don't know if we recognised that sort of performance from the vast majority of last season. It just looked eerily reminiscent, didn't it?
Very familiar, wasn't it? Folks, we need to hear from you because otherwise I have to explain, or Craig and I have to talk through the match blow by blow, and we really don't want to have to do that. So I think I want to hear your views on who did well tonight, who might be perhaps sitting on the bench or sitting in the stands in a socially distant kind of manner against Lincoln on the weekend, and all of that kind of stuff. But we will start with the match, Craig. I guess a few bits and pieces going into it, which I guess it's all context, I guess, but it's maybe sounds like excuses. Obviously, the news of Caden Jackson's positive COVID test and the fact that the team needed to be tested, I think yesterday, and only got the results late last night, perhaps early this morning. That is that an excuse? Is that a factor? I guess it's a difficult psychological thing, isn't it, to have to deal with?
No, I don't think having a cotton bud stuck up your nose and down the back of your throat means you can't pass a ball forward for the majority of a 90-minute match of football.
Isn't it like that situation where you kind of half expect? It's like, it's like when you played sports in the winter, like you kind of expected, the pitch is going to be frozen, so we don't have to. It's going to be called off tomorrow.
In the back of your mind, it's already called off.
You kind of you don't bother getting your kit sorted or polishing your boots, and then suddenly the game is on, and you have to kind of turn up. But it's like, nah, my head's not there. We're not giving them that one. Professionals?
No, we're not giving that one. As Dave said, are we doubly sure that all the tests came back negative?
No comment.
Although talking about the Jackson, it does sort of show that particular procedure works, though, doesn't it? That he called in sick, as it were. True. He got tested. He then isolates. Everyone else gets tested. So it obviously shows that they were kept apart, and that that particular process does work. Let's look for some silver linings on this particular cloud, shall we? The COVID testing and isolation process.
Understanding of the rules is very good. We have got loads of comments coming in as well, so please keep them coming. Give us a like as well if you want. If you're on YouTube and you fancy giving us a super chat to buy more Camden-on-Sea, we'd also very much welcome that as well. Anything you guys want to do there is brilliant. Should we have a look at the teams then, Craig? Because we've got to talk about something, I guess. Let me put the teams up here. So Doncaster, I guess, a couple of bits and pieces to talk about through them before we concentrate on us. So 4-2-3-1 according to SofaScore. This is where this graphic has come from. And similar to Ipswich, only a couple of changes. Josh Sims, who got the assist for their winning goal against Pompey on the weekend, comes in. And Matthew Smith comes in as well in the central midfield there. Otherwise, it's an unchanged team for them. Anyone? I think Jim's South.
What are the numbers?
These are SofaScore's average rating so far. That's what they are.
Oh, so far this season.
Don't read anything. So far this season, according to SofaScore.
Thank God for that.
What were you thinking they were?
They were real time. Up to date scores from the match.
No, I don't think anyone in blue and white. Well, I want to hear people's thoughts on ratings as well, and certainly Alan Judge wasn't in the centre, but it's not a team of household names, is it? Some bright prospects, some journeymen perhaps in there as well, but Cameron John, I think, is a name that might be familiar to some people, and Burstick in goal. But yeah, this is. I guess this isn't a Sunderland or in our whole. This is a good cohesive team that is we know now is well drilled.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a half decent team, as we found out, and they say let's just find out if we play another half decent team on Saturday, see what happens then, because it's been in the back of people's minds, hasn't it? I know it's been a few comments here and there on Twitter and those are the days and stuff. Is we're top of the league, but have we really played anyone that can test us? But we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, I did a 30-second kind of soundbite for the Sky Sports podcast and said exactly that. I said our Achilles heel last season was not beating the teams around us or losing to the teams around us, and Doncaster and Lincoln 08. And if you want to blame someone, it's either me for saying that or Alex Matthew, who is apparently this unlucky kind of curse for Radio Sussex summarising. Exactly right. Yeah. Bring back Radio Neil Rimmer.
Jonah.
That's what we want. Yeah. Should we talk about us then? Let's put this back up. Yeah, I mean, apart from the Alan Judge is in the wrong place there. He certainly starts on the right. Freddie stays in the middle. Nolan in for Bishop. And I guess we also need to congratulate Luke Chambers, who clocks up 344 league appearances and becomes our joint 10 all-time appearance maker. So clearly, great accolade for him, and probably would have liked it to have been in better circumstances. But other than that, the only other exciting thing is Ollie Hawkins on the bench. But there's not much to talk about this team. We're not doing much rotation anymore. No, that's pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's pretty much, excuse me, it's pretty much the team that we sort of thought may happen, that either Hughes or Bishop would drop out from the weekend just purely because of pure weight of games, and that Nolan would come back in because he's been on the bench for a couple. So I don't think there was any gripes, and Edwards was playing on the left, as we were moaning about on Sunday, that he started on the right at the weekend. So yeah, pretty much the team that most people would have picked, I'd have thought.
Super Ego 123. Why drop Bishop when he's the best attacking midfielder we have? Nolan doesn't look forward at all compared to Bishop. I think that's a fair point, isn't it? Is it about resting Bishop? Albeit he came on as a sub, didn't he? But
yeah, it was probably I don't know, toss up between him and Hughes, and because it being a away game against half decent opposition, Lambert probably thought, well, there's a bit more solidity if I have both Hughes and Nolan there. But I couldn't agree more in terms of Nolan and his forward passing today. He was the Nolan of last season, wasn't he? Today, he certainly wasn't the Nolan of the first couple of games of this season.
Well, there are a few players who reverted to type, as you said. Let's just go through the early action, because what I think we'll do is, and please keep those comments coming. We've had a lot of comments about the performances, which we would definitely come to, but as well, any comments on the action, any comments on specific moments as well. Happy to hear those too. Keep those comments coming. 6 minutes, Nsiala. This is the frustration with Nsiala, because he is pretty dominant in the air today in both boxes. 6 minutes. There's a chance here from a corner, albeit Donny nearly counter attack us from our own set piece. I think Matthew mentioned this. We do put a lot of bodies forward for the set pieces, but that nearly worked out for us. And Craig, this was a solid start. We had Edwards and Judge switching sides. Emir Hughes on the ball quite a lot, taking it forward. 8 minutes, he has a shot.
Yeah, we had that double drag back, didn't we, in the middle from
the Jermaine Wright against Arsenal, against Bergkamp thingy.
Yeah. I think that's for you FIFA players. That's triangle, square, circle, L2, R1. I think if in that combination, that'll give you that move.
Is that alternative or classic buttons though?
Yeah, I have a bespoke setting for my FIFA. Yeah,
it's got to be alternative for me. It's the old Pro Evo buttons from back in the day. So shout out to any Pro Evo fans. Pro Evo 4 classic. But Craig, certainly the goal when it came did not flatter us. The passing play was slick. Now. Yep. There was some hints as to what was to come, because Holy, I think, nearly miscontrolled the ball into the post pretty early doors. Yeah. But actually, the build-up, the pattern of play stuff that we've been talking about, was pretty solid early on, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had we struggled the first 5 minutes or so. We just didn't really get into it, did we? They had a lot of possession in the first 5 minutes or so. But once we got through that, for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, we were just as we have been for the majority of the matches this season. We were knocking it around. We were playing off of Sears. Edwards was getting on the ball a lot. Hughes was getting forward, wasn't he? And then pretty much disappeared for the rest of the match. And it worked out fine, as you say. And the goal was a great goal, wasn't it? It was what we have been doing a lot of in when Holy manages to keep the ball on the pitch, he pinged it out to Chambers. And Chambers hung like a proverbial salmon, didn't he? And
Air Chambers, yeah.
Flicked it into Judge, who knocked it back to him. And it was brilliant play, wasn't it? It was Kane Vincent Young-esque, if we can. Well, Chambers now, isn't it? It's got to
give praise to Chambers, because he doesn't sit and admire his own header, does he? He gallops and lovely inside ball from Judge. And I was kind of thinking Chambers should lash this into the corner, but actually it's probably the smart play, isn't it? What he ends up doing, it's that teaser down the corridor of uncertainty, isn't it?
That's the one
which the defenders don't like, and it's 1-0 and.
All's good with the world. Everything's rosy in the garden.
Exactly right.
We're going to
E-I-E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah. We're going up as fucking champions.
HMS pissed the league. And then it starts to fall apart, doesn't it? And I mean, not immediately. There's an effort for Hughes from range, which is a little bit tame. Similarly, Kenlock, Nolan, Judge combined. Judge cuts in and hits a left foot curler that's a bit tame as well.
Yeah, a bit weak.
But just before that, 20 minutes, Holy had passed the ball out to Josh Sims, and Nsiala had to dive in. And again, this is the good that you get with Nsiala, is that he chucked his body on the line and made the block, and then eventually the ball is cleared out wide and it goes over. But Holy's distribution, and you mentioned the ball's out of play either side, but I mean, shouldn't we have figured out pretty early on, having given the ball away or conceded possession, that we should just stop doing this kind of stuff?
Yeah, but the thing is with Holy is we know he's not particularly great with the ball at his feet. You know, he's all right if he's passing it 5 yards sideways to Wilson and Nsiala, but what sort of knocked us was that what you just mentioned there, where he just sort of tried to dink it, didn't he, over towards Chambers, I think it was, but sort of scuffed it and got a lot of turf instead of ball. And when Nsiala threw himself in the way of the ball, and it's pretty much from that point onwards, that was it for us. I mean, we didn't really. It seemed to like knock Holy, knock his confidence. It's things that transpired in the second half. But and Lambert says, blame me. You know, if I've asked them to play this way, well, okay, we'll stop asking them to play that way. But I suppose Holy's like, well, I can either knock it long, keep it in the middle of the pitch to Sears, and it's coming straight back at us, or I can knock it wide and try and hit that 2 yards of channel down the right-hand side or the left-hand side, and it's going to go out of play, or I knock it to Nsiala, and who knows what's going to happen. We're just sort of at 6s and 7s in terms of what we can do if we haven't got a big man up front as an out ball.
Yeah, and we were talking, didn't we? James Roddick, I've just got to understand this. # bring back double parked breakfast for Toto. James, tell us more about that. I'm intrigued by that. But let's go to the goal, shall we? And
it's not rude, is it, James?
Yeah, exactly right. If it is, then apologies. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pressing buttons. I'm a renegade. No, that's someone else. The goal here, do we want to go through these in more detail? I mean, we've got loads of comments. I think let's just skip through the goals quickly, Craig, because the second half is a non-event, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from us just being crap. But this equaliser comes from a rash decision from Nsiala to close down a second ball, which he really doesn't need to do, and he's out of position. And Cameron John has freedom of keep mode.
Yeah, he comes out, doesn't he? And it wouldn't be so bad if someone was covering behind him, but there wasn't anybody covering behind him, was there? And it left Wilson with 2 against 1, and Wilson went to the striker and then left the defender free to come in. It's a hell of a finish, to be fair, wasn't it? Rifled it into the top corner. But just going back to Holy, and that's just reminded me to talk about it. And this isn't a let's all pile on Holy competition.
It'd be very difficult.
Yeah, but how often does he save shots that you think, he's done well to save that? That was a nailed-on goal here. He doesn't seem to pull off many saves that you don't expect him to save, if you see what I mean.
I think he was in the team of the week with Wilson in the EFL this week. I didn't see that myself on Saturday. I'll be honest. I think he did okay.
Yeah, but you could even throw your hat on a lot of the saves he had to make. They were saves that you would expect a goalkeeper in League One to make, weren't they? But what I'm saying is he doesn't keep you in many games, doesn't win you many games by himself. If someone's through on goal, invariably they're going to score. He doesn't stop a one-on-one, or he doesn't tip it around the post when it's flying in the corner. I don't know. He's solid enough goalkeeper. But
well, let's get on. Let's chip in some questions then as we go, because we don't want to dwell on their goals too much. We'll have to talk about them at some point for those of you who didn't watch the game. But a Google user, please give us your name, Google user. But Holy to finally be dropped, and I think I've got to say that Holy hasn't been utterly convincing for me, but do we want to kind of chuck away all of this consistent selection and doing away with getting Guinevere in it every week, or does he get dropped on the basis of one game, or do you get the sense that Lambert has been waiting to get Cornell in because
that's
full
the
of
thing,
praise after Gillingham, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. You just don't know. But you don't know what's been said in the background in terms of team selection. You don't know whether it's been said to the team as a whole. Look, if you have one shocking match, I've got plenty of guys on the bench here who are gagging to play, and therefore make sure you play well or you're out. Or whether it's, everyone's played well so far this season. You've all got a game's grace that if you do have a shitty one, you're back in the team next week to prove that was a blip rather than back to the norm sort of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Holy, in the past, Lambert's shown that he's not averse to dropping Holy, is he?
One Michael Penty Smith asked, "What did your son make of Holy's performance, Craig?" #Goalkeepers Union.
He was doing his homework, mate. He wasn't even interested in watching Doncaster. Doncaster versus Ipswich. Sorry, mate.
Tuesday night. What else are you going to do?
Reason being, tomorrow night he's got double football training, so he needs to get 2 lots of homework done for Thursday. You see, so
there you go. You put the effort in, you get your boots cleaned, and you turn up. Exactly right. Joe, also from the pod team, evening to Joe, who's not hanging out the back of a caravan trying to get signal, hopefully. Make of those comments what you will. Evening to Joe. His view, very poor, Holy and Enciala. Owen Davies, Enciala to be dropped for the weekend. I talked about the good, but this is the bad tonight, and we'll talk more about the kind of fourth goal and the third goal, really. And penalties.
As you say, you don't want to be throwing the baby out with bathwater, but by the same token, if you've got Wolfenden on the bench, you'd probably want to be getting him in on the pitch, wouldn't you? But
I can't believe. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. I
was going to say Mark McGuinness as well. Arsenal can't be too happy with Mark McGuinness sat on the bench either.
Yeah, but as I say, is it a case that we've got such a strong squad? As long as the formation stays the same, so people know where they're slipping in and out of the position, then is it a bad thing to drop a player on a bad performance? And I'm just, in terms of Holy, I just wonder whether that nervousness you get at the back when he's on the ball, whether that sends ripples through the team. He's not particularly confident on the ball. Yeah,
well, Super Ego 123 again. Why aren't we starting Wolfen in our best player last season by a mile? Toto does good things in games, but a mistake is bound to happen. He can be sloppy, and both. I agree with that point, and both him and Holy on the ball tonight looked iffy. There were kind of these last-minute passes, weren't there?
Yeah,
I'll hold on to the ball as long as I can to give myself a chance to make the pass. And I'll try and do something clever. And
we were very. Yeah. They were pressing us, weren't they? They really, really were pressing us up there. As soon as we started playing those little trongos, they were onto us, weren't they? And the space we had was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yet we were still trying to play the football out, weren't we?
Yeah. Let's talk about their second goal. I mean, it's fairly loose pressing from a corner, isn't it? It's the second or third ball that ends up with Whiteman. And to your point about Holy. What's the situation here? This is not like Beckham at Portman Road in 2000 when it just I think it's Ronnie Warwick. Here you go. Here's a blaster to pass to you guys. Ronnie Warwick kind of jumps over the ball at the last minute and unsights Richard Wright. This came out from a long way, and I can't believe Holy.
It wasn't really going particularly quickly, wasn't it? It wasn't really whipped in. It was sort of floated in, wasn't it? And thing is as well, you often see when you see goals like that, you often see the goalkeeper who's pretty much expecting one of the attackers to be heading the ball, but he was actually over that side of the goal and just seemed to just watch it float into the corner. I don't know. I don't know whether we're being too harsh on it. He's obviously not expecting it to happen, etc., etc. But it doesn't look. It's not a great look, I don't think.
No, it's not. And straight away, Cameron John is down the left-hand side, straight from pretty much our kickoff, flashing across wide that no one can get on the end of. We've got a tame free kick from Judge, who we've got comments about Judge we'll come back to, and Hughes skies a volley. But the first half, real seesaw situation, wasn't it? I mean, the first 15, 20 minutes, Ipswich utterly on top. And then flick of a switch, Craig, is that the worst? I'll be honest, I didn't see the first half of Accrington. I saw the second half. Have you seen a more schizophrenic, for want of a different word, performance than that first half?
Yeah, well, we've had. Well, I wouldn't say we were particularly fantastic first half. We were okay for the first 20, 25 minutes, weren't we? We were knocking it around, but it was just insipid, wasn't it? It just sort of drifted into nothingness. And I say it just reminded me of so many of the games from like November onwards last year, in that we were nervous at the back and completely bereft of ideas and courage going forward with the ball.
I've got to temper our negativity, Craig, because the comments are right. Give it a rest, guys. Evening bits. Meltdown over one defeat. No wonder the team have been playing without a crowd. Better without a crowd. It's just a bad day at the office. I mean, bits. It is a very bad day at the office, but the good thing is that this is one fixture. It's to borrow a Mickism, you kind of we move on, don't we? We move on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same after the Milton Keynes performance, not necessarily the result. It was a draw, but it's how you play in the next match, isn't it? And I think it will tell us a lot about what happens on Saturday at Lincoln, as to how fragile the confidence is in the team. That a result like that, you either bounce back from it and tell everyone to stick up your jumper because it was literally just a blip, or you capitulate and it's the start of something else. We won't know until we've played, will we? We're
back next to last season, aren't we? Pete Girls, bit of perspective required. Certainly didn't deserve to win, but we've been done by 3 awful errors and a free goal. Time for Wolves to come in for Toto, whose luck finally ran out tonight. Is there also something to be said, Pete's point here, that Doncaster didn't have to work particularly hard to score 4 past us? These are all goals with an Ipswich Town error as part of them, aren't they? I'm trying to think back of all 4 of them. We have gifted them these 4 goals, haven't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, we have. But then you don't know what would happen during the course of a match and transpires. If they had pushed a bit harder, if we hadn't given them away. It just what upsets me, but it's just the fact that we didn't. It's just the fact that we just looked so weak. It just, as I said before, insipid, just wishy-washy in the second half, and nothing happened. And it just sort of, and I appreciate we've had pops at Holy, we've had pops at Enciala, but the midfield didn't do anything tonight, did they? Hughes and Nolan were appalling tonight. Dazell's radar was a little bit off, certainly in the first half, but we had old John Nolan. We had the John Nolan that everyone expects to see, the safe John Nolan, the shirking tackles John Nolan, the passing it back rather than looking forward John Nolan. And poor old Hughes is not even half the player he was pre-injury, before the injury, before that injury.
Shame, because he started the game so well, didn't he? And I don't know whether that was Doncaster. Maybe we need to give some praise for Doncaster here as well.
They played well, played very well.
And they figured us out. I think they doubled up on Edwards, who hardly got a sniff. And certainly, as you say, the central midfield didn't really get too much foothold in the game. Should we just deal with these are the 2 goals, and then we can stop talking about the match and start talking about Lincoln instead? I mean, 49 minutes here, and this is again the to and fro that we've got from Toto is Sims is Sims is in after effectively the ball goes between Enciala and Wilson to Sims, who's totally through, and Enciala is doing his best to drag his man down. Unfortunately, Sims stays on his feet and he drags his shot wide. But that was a real good chance there. Another freak incident that Donny didn't have to work particularly hard for. And then from 60 minutes, Craig, we make this double change. Bish comes on for Hughes. and it always goes wrong. It's a long ball over the top for Sims, who runs in, and he's the wrong side of Ntiala, and it's a clear penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was an ongoing joke last year, wasn't it, that whenever Ntiala played, it was either going to be a yellow stroke red card or a penalty pretty much in every match he played, wasn't it, at one point? And this match we got a yellow card and a penalty, but his confidence just seemed to just disappear down the plug hole, didn't it? And that one, you say the ball was played through and he just literally stood there and watched it go past him on the assumption that Holy was coming to get it. Well, the ball was still outside the box. Holy was near enough 20 yards away and the guy just nipped behind it. Seen from there, his confidence just got shot. And obviously, by the token of the way we're playing, we're still knocking the ball out to him when he probably doesn't want to be seeing the ball, for a while yet. But you shouldn't really be getting caught like that. It's central defending. Page 1, I'd have thought, of chapter 1 is stay the right side of your man.
Yeah, it's pretty direct, isn't it?
Well, the guy did well. The guy did well. He played it well to stay on his feet until such time as he got in the box, and then decided that he'd go. So he played perfectly.
He learned his mistake from the previous move that we were just talking about. It's the same player. And then is it Whiteman? Sorry, decent penalty, sends Holy the wrong way. And then 2 minutes later, Craig, it's game over. And I don't know who I'm pinning the blame more on, Holy or Dazelle, for what is going on here. But Okenbeery's got a absolute gift. And is this Ipswich being cocky, arrogant, or just plain stupid? Because I haven't got a clue what anyone is thinking about here.
Well,
Holy gets the ball, you think,
Holy's got a lot more confidence in his left foot than I have, I think, because he played it, was it first time as well when Dazelle knocked it back to him. Because initially Holy played some sort of little drag back, didn't he, and knocked it to Dazelle, and Dazelle then knocked it back to him, and Holy decided first time to pass it out wide to Ntiala, and transpired to pass it straight to their guy instead. One touch into the middle, and to be fair, it was a good finish, wasn't it? Again, it was corner, one touch and straight in the corner. I was quite impressed by him, to be fair. They're number 9.
Yeah, Okenbeery, he's bit of a unit. Yeah.
But he did exactly what Hawkins has been doing for us, hasn't he, so far this season? He was putting himself around. He was making a nuisance of himself. He was allowing others to get up and join him, and winning a lot of his battles against Ntiala and Wilson today. I was impressed with him.
Let's not talk about any more of the match action, because there's some substitutions, there's a dodgy penalty, there's some crap free kicks, but otherwise that was pretty much it. Let's get to the comments. Pete, evening to Pete. Only positives are I did not pay to watch that, travel / pay for the stadium, beer, etc. Keep your positive coming in, folks.
Yeah, actually, on that point, I know it wasn't just myself that struggled with the iFollow tonight. I paid for it yesterday through the Match Pass, and went to log on tonight, and it was coming up as you basically have to pay again. It wasn't recognising that I paid for it, even though it was in my purchase history, and I got the email yesterday to say I'd bought it. It wasn't letting me watch the match. It was bringing up the screen to pay again, which I did. But if anyone needs to email, I follow whoever, if they drop me a line on Twitter, I'll send you their email address, because I've done it myself tonight, just in case anyone's in the same boat.
I heard all kinds of weird. I mean, I don't think the coverage started for some people as well. We probably need to compare notes, because mine was fine. I mean, I bought it an hour before kickoff. But people said the coverage wasn't loading or anything like that. So we need to find out what the optimum configuration there is. There is an operating system, a web browser, a plugin, or something that.
Yeah, I've never had problems before. And I'd go through Chrome and I cast it to my what's it called, Chromecast on the telly, and it always works perfectly. Touch wood. I just go through my PC and cast it. But tonight, for some reason, the iFollow wasn't working. So I'll say, if anyone else is in the same boat, then let me know and I'll ping you their email.
Dominic Littlewood of the podcast there. Don't get done. Yeah. Fims or something.
Money saving expert. That's me.
Yeah, Martin Lewis or whatever. Yeah, good stuff. Ram Fanboy Run Andrew. Hopefully Hawkins will be fit for Saturday. Guillon left, Bennett on the right, and go for it. Your thoughts on that, Craig?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Bennett's looked all right, hasn't he?
He has actually. He's looked pretty direct, hasn't he, when he's come on? But obviously, we've got Lancaster. Lancaster hasn't been coming on. It's a bit strange that Lancaster isn't being brought on before him. Who knows what that is? But yeah, Hawkins, I think, certainly needs to play up front, doesn't he? In the middle, Guillon's been playing fine, perfectly. But yeah, I think Judge on the right again. He's flattering to deceive, isn't he? Our friend Judge.
It's a shame, isn't it? We've talked about that one plenty. I'm sure more comments on that to come as well. Andreas, evening to Andreas. We were well off it tonight. One off? Question mark. I mean, you've got hopes, so haven't you?
Yeah, well, we bounced back a go after Milton Keynes, didn't we? So, as I say, I'm just mindful of how fragile our confidence is, because say once we went behind tonight, that was pretty much it. You know, the whole team regressed, didn't it, to last season's team? So it's going to take some masterful man management between now and the weekend to pick them up again, I think.
We'll see. The motivator. Come on, Paul. Will Airy, just going to say, I think that's Will. Hello to Will. Did you get the impression that Brenner was enjoying us losing? I'm going to stick up for Brenner. I think Brenner has a very difficult job and tries to not be the crazy, overly biased commentator for us. I think he does a fine job.
I think he's better than a lot of the other teams, aren't there? Certainly, the Blackpool fans aren't huge fans of their guy, and what they did when we played Blackpool was they pretty much all switched over to listen to our commentary whilst watching the match, and were pretty impressed with him. But that might be because Brenner was bigging up Blackpool more than Ipswich. Who knows? But
just got to bring back Neil Rimmer, haven't we?
What you do notice watching the commentary with Brenner on commentary is how often he gets the players wrong, doesn't he? He's mixing them up all over the place. He's getting Dazelle and Enciala mixed up.
It's tricky.
There's about 5 stone difference and about 6 inches height difference between the two of them.
We can't throw anyone under the bus, Craig, until we've tried it ourselves. I think that commentary is a rock hard job, isn't it?
Well, I've got a VHS in the garage of Sky Fan Zone, mate. I told you that.
I'm going to convert it digital. Which game was it?
Aston Villa away when we lost. I think Juan Pablo Angel. Yeah, Angel scored 2-1. I think it was because Finidi scored because I sang the track.
The relegation season.
Sky. Yeah.
I want to. Yeah, you got to post me this.
Mate. It's not happening.
I'm going to break into your house and get it. MH on the right. Lancaster, Bennett's, Dobras's. If Hawkins is a striker or Judge? Question mark. He should have made the squad. Offers nothing whatsoever. An opinion there on Judge, which I guess is to be expected, but Lancaster probably get in for a shout here, Craig?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Lefty, isn't he?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Lancaster does what Edwards does he? He's the mirror image of him in that he's left-footed on the right and cuts in. But what we've seen the last couple of games is that Bennett has been coming on ahead of him, so it may be, but then Bennett might be seen more as an impact sub. Who knows? Sears has done okay playing out wide, hasn't it? It's only been the last couple of games when he's been playing through the middle. I don't know. Does it need a major shake up? Because if you're looking to change a goalkeeper, you're looking to change a centre half. Nolan wasn't great. Hughes wasn't great. You can't change them all after one match, can you? I think.
True.
I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see Judge. Judge has been ineffective for two years now.
Well, this is Mikey's question. Made lots of changes for Saturday. I'll give this team another chance. I think, have I put this one up? I'm not sure I have. Can't remember. Definitely done a Mikey thing. We debated this already a little bit, but you can't rip this team up.
No, we can't, because we sort of built the whole ethos around the first few matches of the season. Is that it's a settled team, it's a settled formation, it's a settled style. If you go in and start ripping it up after one admittedly horrific performance, then you are back to last season. But two or three maybe the goalkeeper and the centre half. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying I'd do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start making changes, purely because of the quality we have got on the bench. You're not making change for change's sake, are you? You are, in theory, replacing them with better players.
I think I've put this one up as well. This rings a bell too, but I'm going to ask it again anyway. How much was it Doncaster being good, and how much was it Ipswich being terrible? I think there's something a bit of. Do you want to
channel our David Diamond, shall we?
You can do it. Do the accent as well.
Oh crikey, I can't do that sort of accent. It's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, mate. A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I've got New Balance, not Fred Perry, unfortunately. But it was. I think it was exactly that, wasn't it? I was impressed by Doncaster. To be fair, they were well set up, and they were really were pushing us and harrying us. Certainly in our defensive third, they were, but we were bloody awful, weren't we?
True. Adam Elvin. Too many of our team only played when we were in the ascendancy. When it's backs to the wall, they go missing. We don't have anyone to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I think I wholeheartedly
Yeah.
agree with that. And at
100%.
2-1, start of the second half, there was no one there really grabbing the game by the cojones, was there?
No, and I wrote this down when it was happening. I was looking purely at Judge and at Nolan for this as well, because they both really, really went into their shells. Exactly when you want those type of players with that type of experience, that number of games behind them, to be saying, right, balls to this, let's go and get at them. They just went into their shells and went defensive and hid and just went safe. It was horrible to watch. But yeah, no one went for this. They took the game by the scruff of the neck. But then it's the same conversation we had last year when about having leaders and
leaders.
You need more leaders in the team, don't you?
And there was no captain cajoling people either, was there? I guess the trouble is we can't see the camera was quite zoomed in at Donny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I didn't see a huge amount of chat going. It was a lot of people sinking into shells, maybe a little bit in this.
The only time you saw Chambers was when, like, after one of their goals, and he just looked completely pissed off and exasperated in the background with either his hands in his head or my record-breaking
moment is. This is the game. Robert Smith, Bish played his first 90 of the weekend, so probably worthy of a rest before we would play Lincoln. But Hughes' performance makes me question the midfield depth I thought we had. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, as I said about Hughes, he just really hasn't hit any sort of heights, has he, since he's come back? And he's got the pedigree as well, and we've seen him do it on us sporadically. But I really, really like him as a player, or liked him as a player when he was doing it for us. And he's just perfect. He's a perfect size. He's got the right range of passing. When he was fit, he was getting into the box. But it must be. I can only imagine how frustrating it is for the player themselves, to know that they once were capable of this, and now they're finding themselves in League One and struggling to make an impact on a match in League One.
See also Alan Judge.
Yeah, international footballer last year, wasn't he?
Yeah. A. Barrett, the key is how we react next game. You said that bounce back and it soon gets forgotten. Last year we lost to Rotherham soon after Accrington. We need to avoid that at Lincoln. Yeah, the fact that it's I need to check. Let me quickly check what the situation was with Lincoln. They won tonight. They beat Plymouth.
Yeah,
so
no, you're
Lincoln,
absolutely right.
Yeah, it's
right. I say we said exactly the same thing after Milton Keynes, is that you can't really read much into one result until you sort of see the next one, and you can start to see whether it's a pattern emerging or whether it was literally a blip, bad day at the office, and we'll forget about it because you won the next match.
It's another top 8 team, though, isn't it, that we play, Craig? And given not too many people have talked about this, and I know we don't want to be too negative, but last season, and I mentioned it at the start, we couldn't beat anyone in the top half. And what we don't want to do is that kind of psychological thing to build
into
up.
The psyche again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
Lincoln away was an absolute shocker last season.
I was going to say, but we've got good memories of Sincil Bank, haven't we? So we can always rely on those.
Interesting thought here from Tim Welsh. Was Dazelle lucky to stay on a second half? He seemed to get away from a certain yellow card.
Yeah, I think that's the one he's probably referring to, that sort of studs up challenge, wasn't it, towards the touchline, towards near where the camera was. But the thing is, we can't really tell. I don't think there was a replay, and by virtue of the camera sort of just flicking around to wherever the ball is, you sort of appear on the action as it's sort of happening, so you can't really tell too much into it. But I think their players made a little bit of it, but I don't think they made too much of it. But Dazelle made himself absent, didn't he, pretty soon after it happened? So
yeah, stay away from the ref. And NCR are perhaps a little bit fortunate as well. A Google user, Hurst took us apart, and it's long-lasting damage. I mean, when at what point does blaming Hurst stop? And Mick, I'm going to lob that one in there as well, Craig. We're kind of this is two effectively. How many seasons we've had? Full seasons have we had of Lambert? We've probably had 2 full seasons now, isn't it?
2.5. Well, yes, 2.5 seasons, isn't it? But one curtailed and more than half, 2/3 of the relegation season, wasn't it? So what's he had? He's had 1, 2, 3, 4 transfer windows, 5 transfer windows. Appreciate, he's not getting money thrown at him, but the team's now being moulded in his shape and playing the way he wants it to. So. Yeah, we all know how far Hurst set us back with that one transfer window,
but
we've suffered from that by getting relegated, haven't we?
We have, and we also need to I'm hearing bits and in my head again. This is one defeat, so let's not start raking over Paul Hurst and Mick McCarthy too much. And I'm to blame for mentioning Mick anyway. Move on. James Golk, is this a good opportunity now to make some defensive changes? Wolford and McGuinness, etc. Are we thinking? Because this again, Wilson and Enciala, I think you'd be hard pushed to separate them as a partnership, wouldn't you? But has James got a point there about Wolford and McGuinness?
Yeah, the only time I've seen McGuinness, I think McGuinness hasn't played a professional game of football, has he? Apart from the EFL trophies, I don't think he's ever played anything anywhere near Arsenal's first team, has he? So I would be surprised if he leaps ahead of Wolfenden. Given what was been said previously about how Wolfenden played last season, I'd just be tempted just to rest Toto. Let's call it rest. Let's rest Toto. He's played every match, and the thing is, you know what you get with Toto. He's a battler, and he'll chuck himself in the way of things, and he'll last-ditch tackle. But you just need to look at what's happened that led up to that requirement of a last-ditch tackle and a throwing yourself in the way of the ball, because sometimes it's his mistake that's led to it. Not always. I'm not saying it is, but I think we've got away. It's not the right word, but we've played the right sort of teams, maybe with Wilson and Enciala at back. So I wouldn't be averse to seeing Wolfenden come.
Adam's point here is valid though. Adam Fagiani here. Stream today. We'll be interested to see how Enciala bounces back. You take him out of the team, Craig, and he misses out on the opportunity to bouncing back. I'm imagining him holding him an orange on a hardback book, but was it an orange or an apple? That's an Alan Partridge reference. Someone will hopefully correct me on there. Bouncing back. Yeah. Pulped. Available at a good petrol station. But
it's not. It was pulped, mate. It's not available.
Pulped. But to the point,
it's a very good point, because as I say, you don't know, and the issue you have is it's one bad game, you get dropped. How does it affect that player? How does his confidence then build from that? But then, if it's the same for everybody, if everyone knows that if they have one stinker, they're out of the team because there is a guy who's champing at the bit to come in to take your position, then so be it, as long as it's the same if Wolfenden has a bad game and he goes out. But what you'll probably find is there'll be problems is that if Wolfenden has a bad game and he's not dropped, and Enciala's saying, well, hang on a second, mate, I was dropped after the Doncaster debacle. It cuts both ways. So, it'll be interesting to see. The way I see it is there are very good players relatively to come in and take these guys' positions. It's not as if you're dropping them for the sake of dropping them, and having no, you wouldn't think so.
And Robert Smith would agree with Adam. Bad day for Enciala, but if he's dropped, you're killing all the progress he's made so far this season. And we have to say, in terms of improved players, he's up there, isn't he, Enciala? So
yeah. But I'm just mindful of how drastic the drop was today from what it has been, and what triggered it. Is it purely a blip, and he'll be back to his marauding warrior-like best on Saturday? But again, he's not going to suddenly become Franz Beckenbauer with a ball at his feet, is he? And that's sort of where a lot of our problems manifest, isn't it? What was tonight?
Thank you for the like, Grimbo Clayton. Keep giving us the likes, and I will mention as many people as I can. George here. Holy was poor, playing out from the back, surprisingly. Considering how good the pitch looked, it did look all right, didn't it? Nice.
Looked very lush, didn't it? Looked very lush, and it was very slow though, wasn't it? Did they say? Because I didn't get the commentary beforehand, but had it been watered, or was it just hammering down rain up there beforehand? Because it looked really, to start with, it looks quite slow. It wasn't like zipping along the pitch.
There were trails, weren't there, on the ball? We didn't. Don't know if anyone knows the temperate conditions in Doncaster at 7 o'clock.
Talk about the grass instead, but it did look very lush.
Did. Paul Westlake, individual mistakes all at once. Cornell surely coming in. Holy looked poor on Saturday too for me. Let's keep going. Oh, I've run out of comments. I need some more comments, folks.
The thing is, Holy, he just, he wouldn't say he's poor, but he just didn't, exude confidence, did he? He's always a tendency to be a little bit flappy, and his distribution to be a little bit hit and miss. And we haven't seen Cornell. Cornell might come in and just be a solid 7 out of 10 each week, But
yeah, Adam's point here. If he's going to play that way, I don't think he can play Holy. And Cornell, as we said, Gillingham, he was praised for his footwork, wasn't he? So
yeah. But we tried to play that way with dear old Bart, didn't we? And he couldn't do it, and he proved at the weekend for Millwall that he still can't do it.
He tried to do his Jermaine Wright spin as well, didn't he? Bob Lockhart not going into meltdown tonight. Just a blip. Yeah, good for you, Bob. I think we'll take a little bit of that medicine as well.
Time will tell, won't it? Time will tell on Saturday.
It will. Let's save our meltdowns till Saturday. Interesting here from a Google user. You do need to give us your name, because there's some really interesting insights and comments here. I dare say we have a better chance of bouncing back because of no crowd. If there was a crowd I could see last year repeating because of how fragile we are. Important to say that we're at Lincoln, but also there's no crowd in for the home team either. So is this a bit of a leveler? And in terms of nerves, there's not going to be anyone in the away end shouting all kinds of
stuff. Pretty horrific at Lincoln away last year, wasn't it? There was some choice.
Turgid, wasn't it? What's the word I'm looking for? Moribund is not the word. It's not the word. It was just a little bit. The atmosphere was just quite stale, or quite. When we scored the goal, the equaliser.
Oh, I see. Muted.
That's the word I'm looking for. Muted, and then it got angry at full time.
It did get angry. Yeah.
But
we have. Let's say we talked about it on one of the recent pods. Is does no crowd affect some players in a good way and a bad way more than other players? And I think it does. Nsiala. I'm of the opinion Nsiala is benefiting from there not being a crowd there, because they're just a general air of, oh my goodness me, wariness when he gets the ball or when he goes flying into a tackle. Not necessarily he gets the bird from anybody, but it's just that general edginess when it happens. So I think he's benefiting from there not being a crowd, albeit not tonight. Whereas other players probably thrive on there being a crowd.
Yep. And maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit as well, perhaps. Super Ego also making really valid contributions tonight. I really hope Lancaster gets playing again. He came off the bench and made 2 assists in 30 minutes. When was that?
Bristol, was it?
Bristol, was it 2 assists? Yeah, okay.
Well,
me starts over Judge or Sears if he plays on the wing again. I can't disagree with that one. I want to see more of Lancaster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just depends on his fitness, doesn't it, and match fitness to starting a match rather than coming on for the last 20. I'd imagine they're still easing him into matches, which is why you'll probably end up seeing Sears, I'd have thought, rather than Judge. Maybe I think that'll be the change rather than a Bennett's or a Lancaster, I would have thought.
Sears is I don't know what I think about Sears in front on his own.
How'd you spell that, Rich?
How do I spell what? Sorry. What? Oh, that was PPHHFFH. And apologies for the microphone as well if that picked up in a bad way. Hawkins is a much better outlet, isn't he? Or makes more of being alone up front, isolated. I just think Sears runs around a little bit like a headless chicken, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. But he's a jack of all trades, isn't it? Poor old boy, he's been stuck here, there, and everywhere. But tonight, and it goes back to a point Mikey made at the weekend in terms of Sears and his finishing prowess, is that he had a chance in the second half, didn't he? The start of the second half.
True, the low shot
into him, and you knew damn well he was going to hit it straight at the goalkeeper, and Edwards was free in the middle, waiting to tap it in. But you just knew he was going to hit it at the goalkeeper, and if that goes in and it's 2-2, you don't know. We may well have only lost 4-2 rather than 4-1.
True. We're getting more and more I follow stuff here. Owen Davis with a very nice, succinct use Chrome. I endorse that message.
Yeah.
Adam also, I sent an I follow an email and asked for my money back on the grounds. The product I purchased was rubbish. Good for you. Let us know how you get on with that one. I think we'll add that to the list of I want my money back and I want my bus fare refunded and all that fun stuff. Suffolk Newbie on Twitter, evening to you. When the chips are down, ITFC players vanish. Flat track bullies. That's a kind of continuing theme. We've got a little bit of, I don't want to use the word bottle jobs, Craig. But
soft centre, don't we? I think. Yeah, we've always, there's always been that fear, isn't there? The last few years, when's the last time we had a bunch of nasty bastards, running through the middle of just the spine of our team. Clever players who know shithousery like the back of their hand. Is right. Is that they do? Today it really annoyed me that this evening. Sorry, was Nolan and Judge in particular just really got to me today, just for the fact that they just disappeared into their shells and didn't seemingly want to still be courageous. You can forgive players if they're getting on the ball and they're losing it by passing it forward or losing it trying to do something. But if you're running forward with the ball 10 yards and then literally looking back as you're running forward to see who you can pass it back to, like Nolan did at one point, then I've got no time for it.
Agreed. Yep. And it's the same point about taking the game by the scruff from there. We've done that point. Evening to Mark Beck. Check out ITFC Unrestricted. Always a good listen now on Blue Monday commentary. The future striker. Yeah, I've always fancied, as much as I didn't want to throw Brenner on the bus, I've always quite fancied myself as a bit of a commentator. I would love to do that. Give us a shout if you want Blue Monday unofficial commentary. The issue we're going to have is syncing the footage with the audio, though.
I think the issue is, Rich, it's bloody difficult to do.
Well, I mean, do it accurately and properly. I don't think we'd be doing it properly.
Oh no.
I think we'd be talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you want a rubbish job, then yeah, we're the men
Not
for
a rubbish
it.
job, a different job. Different commentaries for different needs. Yeah. Shout if you want an Ipswich commentary. Craig's not up for it, but I want to see this fan.
I'm a co-commentator. Yeah. I'll be co-commentator. I'll be Mick Mills. Big Sykesy.
Yep. Big Sykesy. Players by the first names. Paul Westlake. Lambert promised that players would keep the shirt whilst they earned it. Who has just lost theirs? And who comes in? I mean, we've been talking about selection changes. Let's talk more about this, about who's lost their shirt or who was losing it and now definitely has. Have we mentioned them all? I think we probably have, haven't we?
Yeah, probably. I'd like to know when Ward's back, because Ward was going to be out for a week, and it's about 3 weeks so far, isn't it?
We miss him, don't we? We haven't talked a huge amount about Kenlock. I don't think Kenlock was particularly culpable today much, but he's kind of a 6 out of 10 player, isn't he?
Yeah. He was fine. He was fine at the weekend, wasn't he? But you just don't know what you're missing with Ward not being there. If that's not too many double negatives chucked into a sentence.
Don't know what you've. Yeah, sorry, Kiko.
Yeah, but if you've got him and Chambers either side, you don't know how much solidity that gives the two guys and how much talking they're doing to the two guys inside them, and things like that you can't pick up on when you're not there. So
and Ward's deliveries were quite good as well, weren't they? And he was getting past the winger. Getting crosses in too, which Kenlock, I've not seen any evidence of that.
No, we haven't actually, have we? No, Chambers has been the one that's been getting forward in all the matches that Kenlock's been playing. But in terms of that from Paul, I reckon I wouldn't be surprised if Holy and Enciala. I wouldn't be surprised.
Super Ego again. Wait, how do you listen to Ipswich audio when watching away from home? I can never change it over, and other commentators are rubbish. Please help. Craig?
It's automatic for me. I get Brenner straight away.
I always get Brenner. Yeah, I always get Brenner, but I think you can change it. So the answer is we don't know.
I've never felt,
but it's possible. Oh, here we go, George. You press the little settings button in the bottom right corner, I guess, of the screen. There you go. This is good. This is the conversation is evolving as we go through. Changing the subject. Terence Ovenall. Have you seen United's kit? No, I haven't. What is United's kit? I need to get on.
Which United?
No. Let's have a bit butchers to see if I can find it. I don't think I can.
There you go.
This is bad.
Can you? We've had a reply to your.
I think it might be that. Leopard kind of zipper kind of situation. What do I need to go, Craig?
We've had a reply to your Alan Partridge cover from my friend Tim. It's a tennis ball, not an orange.
Is it a tennis ball?
Bouncing back, wasn't it?
Oh, of course, that makes so much more sense.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, all of the important stuff. That's what we want. Let's keep going through the comments bits. You only have to look at the stats. Both teams equal across the board. Only difference is we made errors and gifted goal. This won't happen often, and we will still win the league. God, you Blues. Let me see if I can share my screen because I've got the stats from tonight. Let's see if I can add them in very quickly, or whether this will break the live stream. This probably won't work. Let's have a look. Can you see that? If I remove the comments as well. So yeah, possession 55% Ipswich. Is this the right one? Is this the right fixture? Have I got this right? This doesn't look right to me. But apparently so. 45% for Ipswich. We're on the right hand side here. Shots 8 to 11 on target, 4 and 4. I don't remember 4 shots on target. Do you? This doesn't feel right. It is right, but it doesn't feel right. So maybe Bits has got a point. It's not as
yeah, the big chances there, aren't there? They had 3 big chances. We had 1. They had a lot more shots inside the box.
Yeah, double. Wow.
Yeah. Although
no saves. No saves.
Holy didn't make a single save. Well, there you go. That's sort of proving my point that when there is a chance which is in favour of the striker, invariably he doesn't stop it. If you see what I mean, I don't recall many match saving performances by him. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, but he's a solid League One goalkeeper. But yeah, he doesn't make many wonder saves. If you see what I mean.
Pete Girls. It's not just I think that's his nickname, by the way. I'll stop calling you Pete Girls. I'll just call you Pete. It's not just one bad game for Toto. Joe made the point on the weekend pod. Several of his mistakes in games so far haven't been punished until tonight. It does feel, as people have said, that all the mistakes, well, knock on wood, have come in one game, but appear to have all happened at the same time, Craig.
And they've resulted in goals tonight. It's what Pete's saying, isn't it? Rather than him. But then as I was saying previously, he has been throwing himself in the way of stuff and last-ditch tackles, but how many of those have actually been of his making in the first instance?
That's true. Yeah. Let's keep going with these. I want predictions for Lincoln, by the way. If you're still with us, let's have your predictions for Lincoln. I'm going to have to go through the results as well. Hull lost 4-1 to Fleetwood? I need to check that was the case because I'm.
Did they? I saw it. It was 1-0 to Hull last time I saw it, so that could well be.
I need to double check that. No, I don't think that's right.
I know Doncaster lost 4-1 to Ipswich lost 4-1 to Doncaster.
Was that okay? Was that 2 weeks ago? Not tonight. That did happen, didn't it? Yeah, Hull and then bounced back. They bounced back and now they're flying. Okay, thank you. Stitching it together live on air. This is good. A. Barrett, should we expect more from the midfielders shooting from the edge of the box? There were shots, but they seem sorry. This has been a real bugbear of mine. I totally agree with this for years. Our shots are so lame, aren't they? Set pieces as well.
Well, yeah, that Alan Judge one you didn't particularly like too much in the first, did he? Where he curled it very weakly with his left foot into the midriff of the goalkeeper. And even when, Nolan has shots from outside the box, but he never really seems to catch hold of them, does he? He always seems to sort of scuff them. So.
I've just noticed the time. We'll need to tick through some of these and make sure we don't repeat ourselves. Why was Edwards taken off? Fitness for Saturday?
Yeah, possibly. May just been
didn't get a look in there, did he?
A lost cause. No, but then he was probably better than Judge. But it's probably just a case of then is just try something different for the sake of trying something different. I'd have thought by that point he didn't have a great second half, although he's probably our biggest threat in the first from the week.
And Tony also asks, Holy may have lost confidence. Did you see any evidence of that?
Well, I say he just doesn't look particularly confident with the ball at his feet, does he? And I say he's a little bit flappy at crosses, but I say he did all right at the weekend, didn't he? I don't know what. I can't remember. Forgive me, Tony. I can't remember what gaff he made at the weekend. Maybe the passing out from the back that we sort of got away with.
Yeah, that's been in the post, that mistake as well.
Yeah, exactly.
George easing Jack in Lancaster, especially considering when most forward players have a lot of contact from in the back from the defenders. Yeah, rough and tumble in League One. I think that's fair. Super Ego, quick one on this, Craig. I think this is a one-word answer. Do you think we should go back to 2 up top as it dropped the 4-3-3?
I don't think so. I think it's been working perfectly all right. I say the issue we had is not having Hawkins or a body of some description in the middle there for everyone to aim for, feed off of, and run past. I think that's just what we've been lacking. Although, not tonight. We were just a shambles at the back.
George Craig can go and replace the cameraman at Portman Road. I offered to do that job. I've offered to do it for free. I will happily go to Portman Road and watch football and point a camera in the right direction without looking at the camera frag and then zooming into the cardboard cutouts and then the away end. Bits, keep going, Bits, with your positivity. Still well over 2 points per game. Good for you on that and bringing facts to the party. That's what we want. Man United away kit. They look like zebras. Thank you, Pete. Where are we? Martin, great show, guys. Yeah, that's the way that you get your credit. Your comment read out. Do you know when Ward is available again? I think we were expecting him possibly tonight, so I would guess hopefully Lincoln, Craig.
Yeah, hopefully so. Obviously, he hasn't been on the bench because I don't think you'd waste a position on the bench for him if he's not fully fit. But yeah, I hope so, because he was a solid calming influence at the back, wasn't he, in the matches that he played? And he pretty much played exactly as you'd expect a guy who's played a lot of games in the Premier League to have played. And he was just somewhere you could just, I said it before, hang your hat on. You know, he'll pretty much invariably play the right pass to the right person and be in the right place at the right time in the defensive third as well. So yeah, by all means, as soon as you can get him back.
Wholeheartedly agree with that. We've got some. Do I go with this one? Go on, Ian. I'm not going to sentence you. We have a team capable of promotion, but the weakest link is Lambert. He should have his shirt. Where do we think? What about Lambert then? What about Lambert's culpability for tonight, Craig?
I don't know. I just think there were too many below par performances. I don't think you can blame Lambert too much. I say that from my perspective, the team that started was pretty much the team that I would have thought that would have been picked, and have got no issue with it being picked. The formation and the style of play that they've tried to be playing all season has been absolutely fine. So I don't think we should be getting too carried away after one bloody awful performance. I think Lambert's got taking all the credit he didn't have in the bank from last year. He's built up enough, the first few matches of this season just to see how we're getting on. He's doing fine at the moment, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. Bits as well. Bits on fire tonight. I'm enjoying him. How have we slagged off the midfielders' tame little shots from midfield? But he's quite rightly said until all of our goals have been midfield. I think they're from midfielders who have got into the area or there or thereabouts. But yeah, I think that's a fair enough point. Paul, I'm going to trust you on this one. I always trust people who this I think is from post-match. Paul, just give us a confirmation on that, saying this might be the knock we needed. I know what he means. We were all potentially getting a little ahead of ourselves. We were never going to win every game, so quite nice to have that unbeaten thing off our back, or win as many as possible for as long as possible. And yeah,
are we saying we'd rather be the hunters than the hunted?
Oh God, not again.
That worked well.
Yeah, I want Lincoln predictions from anyone. We're going to sign off very shortly. I'm going to do a couple of plugs, and then I'm going to get Craig's thoughts on the weekend as well. Shall I just put up the league table? I can talk through the results very quickly. Blackpool 0, Charlton 1. So Charlton coming back into form, having a few games out. Lincoln 2. Opponents on Saturday, Plymouth 0, Wigan 0, Peterborough 1. All of the teams around are starting to win. Hull 1, Wimbledon 0, Sunderland 1, Crewe 0, Northampton 2, Swindon 1 in the battle of the promoted teams. Burton 0, Rochdale 1, and I think there are a couple of games tomorrow night, which means for the league table, and let's see how good I am at sharing stuff on the old blimmin' StreamYard. Let's see if this works. Can you see that, Craig?
Oh, crikey, it's a bit small for my eyes.
Is it a bit small? Yeah, I think that's just about good enough. Hull, can I make it even bigger? Yes, I can. Magic. Yes, Hull top of the league. Ipswich still second. Where's Bits? Where's Bits when I need him? We are second in the league still. On goal difference ahead of Lincoln on third, also on 16. But Craig, I think the key headline for me is a top 6 that consists of Hull, Peterborough, Sunderland, now Doncaster, Portsmouth just outside, Charlton have a game in hand as well, just outside as well. This is going to start to bunch up, isn't it, if we're not careful?
Yeah, it's going to start to bunch up, and we're now going to be starting to play those teams that are towards the higher positions in the league rather than the lower positions in the league. Yeah, that's it. So what have we got? Lincoln, Gillingham, Crewe, Sunderland.
Yep.
Next matches. So
it's getting real, man. It's getting real.
Yeah.
Let's do some predictions. Give me yours first. Lincoln prediction.
If you offered me a draw, I wouldn't even get on the bus.
Nick's given us a 3-1 Ipswich. Good on you, Nick. loving the positivity. But I'm going to end on positivity because this guy has been the champion for pragmatism, realism, staying positive minded. And I think of all of the comments I want to end on, it's this one from Bits. Good evening to you, Bits. We are going to ass whip Lincoln 5-2. Watch this space. We'll find out more about that on Sunday/Monday with the flagship show with me, and Seb and Dave. And you can follow us. All of our social media bits and pieces are down there. You can find me at Ipswich. Craig, where are you?
I am at Fims75.
Thank you everyone for your comments. Apologies if we didn't have time to read them out. And keep an eye on what's going on, and we'll be back next time around. Stay safe and look after yourselves. Craig, do you want the final word? I'll let you have the final word.
Okay. See you all tomorrow, 10:30, Potmaster.
Yeah, that.